You might believe that if you are helpful and kind, people will naturally respect you. You might think that always being available when others need you will make them value you more. And you probably feel that being generous is the best way to make people appreciate you. However, there's a difficult truth you might not be aware of. Ironically, the more you do for people, the less they often value you. Without meaning to, you are teaching people that it's okay to treat you like their own personal assistant. You are likely doing 5 specific things that are damaging your self-respect, weakening your personal boundaries, and causing people to take you for granted. All right, subscribe and hit the like button. These aren't just small bad habits. They are deep-rooted behaviors that send a clear message to everyone you meet that your time, your energy, and your self-worth are not important. This idea isn't new. In fact, ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus understood it over 2,000 years ago. They weren't just thinkers. They were men who were deeply respected. They didn't beg for respect. They naturally commanded it. They knew a secret that many people today have forgotten. You don't earn respect by constantly serving others. You build respect by setting clear boundaries and sticking to them. Today, I will show you 5 behaviors you need to quit right now if you want people to treat you as a person who matters, not just as a tool to make their lives more convenient. A word of warning: when you stop doing these things, some people will not like it. They might even get angry. But that's actually a good sign. It means you are finally starting to stand up for yourself and develop inner strength. The first behavior you need to stop is over-explaining yourself to people who didn't ask for a reason. Every time you feel you must justify your decisions, defend your choices, or give a long list of excuses for why you can't do something, you're sending a message. You are basically telling the world that you don't feel you have the right to make your own choices without getting approval from others. Pay attention to what you say the next time someone asks you to do something you don't want to do. Instead of a simple no, you probably start giving a detailed story. Well, I'd really love to help, but I have this other thing to do, and then I have that situation, and I'm so sorry, but maybe another time? You need to stop doing this. When you give too many reasons, it sounds as if you are asking for permission to live your own life. When you give too many reasons for your decisions, you actually give people tools to argue against you. Every excuse you offer is like handing them a problem they could try to solve. For example, if you say, "I'm busy with work," they might say, "This will only take 5 minutes." If you say, "I'm tired," they might say, "Don't be lazy." If you say, "I have other plans," they might say, "Cancel them." This is important. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius wisely said that you can control your own mind, but you can't always control what happens around you. However, when you explain yourself to people who don't respect your independence, you're doing the opposite. You are giving them control over your choices. You're teaching them that your no isn't really final. You're teaching them that it actually means maybe, if only they can find the right way to persuade you. People who are strong in their boundaries don't explain them endlessly. They simply stick to them. When you stop giving long justifications for your decisions, people will eventually stop questioning them. Your no becomes the final answer, rather than the starting point for a debate you never wanted to have. The second thing to stop: being everyone's free therapy. You know this feeling. You're the person everyone calls when they need to complain, vent, or unload all their negative emotions. You sit and listen to the same problems again and again, offering advice that is never followed. Without realizing it, you have become a dumping ground for other people's emotional trash. Here is the hard truth. Most of the time, people don't actually want you to solve their problems. They just want an audience for their personal drama. They aren't calling you because your advice is so brilliant. They're calling you because you are reliable, you're always available, and you won't tell them the difficult truths they need to hear. In their eyes, you have become more of an emotional support animal than a real friend. But this has a serious cost to your own mental health. Every time you take on someone else's negativity, you're poisoning your own state of mind. You might start the day feeling happy and positive, but after a few phone calls listening to people complain, you end up feeling drained, irritable, and negative yourself. Their issues start to feel like your issues. Their stress becomes your stress. Their chaos spreads into your life. The Stoic philosopher Seneca understood this deeply. He said that every new beginning must come from the end of something else. You cannot start building your own mental strength if you are constantly carrying the emotional weight of other people. You cannot focus on your own personal growth if you're always busy managing someone else's constant breakdowns. The solution to being a free therapist. The way to fix this is straightforward, but can feel harsh. You need to stop being on call for every single personal emergency. When someone begins to dump all their negative emotions on you, gently steer the conversation back to them. Ask a question like, "That sounds like a difficult situation. What do you think you're going to do about it?" The key is to not offer them easy solutions. Do not absorb their bad mood as if it were your own. Do not take on the role of their unpaid counselor. The third thing to stop: lending money and doing favors for people who never give back. You know the type of person this describes. They never have their wallet when it's time to pay. They always need help with chores, and they seem to have constant crises that demand your time or money. But the moment you need a small favor in return, they're suddenly unavailable, short on cash, or they can't seem to remember all the times you helped them. When you continuously help people who never help you back, you are teaching them to see you not as a friend, but as a tool. You are sending the message that your time is not valuable, your money doesn't matter, and your kindness has no end. You have effectively become their personal bank and free helper. This behavior ruins relationships because of a simple psychological effect. When you give and give without getting anything back, it creates a very unhealthy balance. The other person begins to feel they deserve your help, while you start to feel bitter and used. They stop being thankful and start expecting your generosity. You stop feeling good about helping and start feeling taken advantage of. The friendship becomes a one-way street where only their needs are met. The philosopher Epictetus, who was once a slave, understood this power dynamic perfectly. He taught that while you can't control what other people do, you can always control how you respond. If you keep giving to people who only take, you are essentially choosing to be a prisoner to their selfishness. A better approach, inspired by the Stoics, is to practice reciprocal generosity. This means help people who are also known to help others. Lend money to people who have a history of paying it back. Do favors for people who have shown they will return the gesture. Your generosity should be a gift you give to people who have good character, not a reward you give to people for being selfish. The fourth thing to stop: apologizing for simply existing. Many people have a habit of saying sorry for things that don't require an apology. They apologize for having an opinion, for having a need, for simply being in a room. Phrases like "sorry to bother you," "sorry for asking," or even "sorry I'm here" are common. You must stop apologizing for being a human being. You have every right to take up space on this planet, just like everyone else. Every time you say sorry when it isn't necessary, you are betraying your own self-worth. You are telling the world, "My presence is a problem. My needs are a burden. My thoughts are probably wrong." You are teaching people to treat you without respect because you are showing them that you don't respect yourself. The fifth thing to stop: chasing approval from people who don't care for you. This is when you constantly work to prove your value to people who have already made up their minds about you. You try to win the admiration and liking of individuals who have clearly shown they don't value you or your time. You are essentially seeking a reward from people who have nothing good to give you. You might find yourself acting differently depending on who you are with. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny. You agree with opinions you don't actually believe. You're putting on an act, showing people a version of yourself that you hope they will like. But here is something the philosopher Marcus Aurelius understood, which is an important lesson for all of us. Constantly seeking approval from others is like an addiction. It never truly makes you feel good about yourself. The more you try to get other people to like you, the more you start to dislike the person you are becoming. You become so focused on what others think that you lose sight of your own beliefs and values. Stoic philosophers didn't say sorry for being who they were, and they didn't need anyone's permission to have their own thoughts. They knew that a person's worth isn't decided by a popularity contest. When you stop looking for approval from everyone else, you begin to build your own inner confidence. And when you stop apologizing for being yourself, people will start to respect the real you. What happens when you make these changes? When you stop doing these 5 things, people's reactions at first will probably be negative. They will be confused and may even get angry. They're used to you always explaining your decisions, listening to all their problems, giving them money or favors, and saying sorry all the time. When you suddenly start acting like someone who values themselves, they will resist the change. Some people will call you selfish for having boundaries. Others will say, "You've changed," or "You're not the same person anymore." And they are right. You are not the same person. You are no longer their free therapist, their personal bank, or their source of constant approval. You are finally becoming someone who respects themselves enough to expect respect from others. However, there's a very positive side to this. The people who truly care about you, your real friends and family, will respect your new boundaries. They will be happy to see you standing up for yourself. They will value your time more because they know it's not endlessly available. They will appreciate your help more because they know it's not a given. Your relationships will become healthier and more balanced because they will be based on mutual respect, not on one person always giving and the other always taking. The Stoics believe that self-respect is not a selfish act. It is absolutely necessary. You cannot give to others what you do not have yourself. If you don't respect yourself, you can't teach others to respect you. If you don't value your own time, no one else will. If you don't protect your own energy, everyone will drain it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you can avoid a lot of trouble by not constantly worrying about what your neighbor is saying or doing. So, stop worrying about what others think of your boundaries. Stop explaining your choices to people who don't respect them anyway. Stop trying to solve everyone else's problems and start making your own well-being a priority. Please leave a comment below and tell me which of these 5 things is the hardest for you to stop doing. The most honest answers will help me create videos that actually help people